because it's a vile thing that looks gross and it smells even worse. Life would be better if it did not exist.
She sunk with the floor as the soil cocooned around her. So basically you want to be in a magical world, but you just don't know about the magic.
That's kind of stupid, isn't it?
And also you don't have magic.
Okay, maybe not. Hello and welcome back to the Ghost Book Archive. This is chapter 15, and today everything is all about magic. My name is Ryan, and as always, I am joined by Zilver.
Hi.
I was going to make fun of your wave again and your hi, but I do it every time. It's getting so tiring, isn't it?
Hi. That's
every time. You're just sitting there
that's
like,
my brand.
You do that again, I'm going to stab you. But yeah.
Hey, don't stab people.
I'm saying that's what you're thinking every time I make fun of your hi.
No, I don't. I actually don't think as much as you think I do.
You don't think as much as I think you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, about things, like things you say and stuff. Sometimes I just zone out when you talk.
I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's
not because
of
you, but yeah, because I also just zone out in general.
We just get some like Subway Surfers gameplay underneath here for when I'm talking.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, which type of magic would you want to have if you could only have one type?
If I could only have one type? Oh, that's so hard. I feel like illusionary magic is pretty cool, like when you're starting to... But really, is that really effective? You're not really doing anything, it's just illusions. But I guess if you're doing that, you could be making yourself look however you wanted, so people see you a certain way. So that's maybe a really good one. I would be scared to use like some sort of destructive magic, because I'd be scared I'll suddenly accidentally kill someone or myself, set my house on fire. So I'll probably avoid that. I don't know. What would you want?
Might just do air magic or something, like, yeah, because you can do a lot with just controlling air. You can fly, levitate, you know.
We'll call you the master of straws.
What?
I don't know. Straws are like the ultimate device for air to pass through. Shut up. Why am I laughing? It's not funny.
Yeah, it's not that funny.
What's wrong with me?
I don't know what you're doing, but good.
I'm alive.
Straws.
Yeah, that's a magic I want. The magic power of straws. Yeah. Cool. So you're taking air.
Amazing. Yeah. So air, and you have... Did you just decide?
Yeah, some sort of illusionary magic, so I can make things appear as they are not.
Illusions. Cool.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can fly though. I can.
Well, I can create the illusion that I'm flying.
But then you're not actually flying.
How do you know? Because I've made the illusion. It'll look like I'm flying to you. You'll be like, oh my god, he's flying so much cooler than me. And you won't know that it's fake. Yeah,
but you won't get the feeling of flying.
Doesn't matter. You'll be so jealous because you'll be like, oh my god, it's flying like so much cooler than me.
Wow. No, I wouldn't care, because I can fly too.
No, you'd care.
No.
Because you'll have to fly by like flapping your arms or something, and I'll just be like this, like Superman. You'd be like, oh my god, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
That was such a disgusted face. You always look so pained every time you take a drink.
No, it's just because it's like the bubbles.
Oh, you're scared of bubbles?
Bubbles. Yeah, I'm scared of bubbles.
Although you're supposed to be in charge of air, and bubbles are just air, aren't they? So you're like magic in the air, so you're scared of your own thing.
I'm not scared.
You just said you were.
Okay, but I'm not actually scared. I was joking.
So you lied?
Yeah.
Wow. Hear this, folks? She's admitting to lying. If you believe this, we've got a liar on the podcast. So disappointed.
Yeah, I should go repent. I am probably wearing 2 different fabrics right now, so I'm a pretty bad sinner.
Out of all the sort of magical worlds that you can think of throughout, whether it's literature or movies or TV shows, is there any specific world that you would like to live in?
I think the Ghibli universe sounds very, very fun. maybe a Disney movie. But also a lot of Disney movies are kind of just scary and shit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they all have bad parts to them as well. You've got a lot of dangers.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like when people say, oh, how cool would it be to live in medieval times? And it's like, well, yeah, for a day, because after that, you suddenly have to deal with the fact that they don't have running water and they've got all these issues with hygiene and just, literally going to the toilet's an issue and like wars and famine. And it's like, let's
exactly.
not.
So
let's
yeah,
not.
It's like kind of the real world with like a little magic sometimes. Like some of my favorite Disney movies are Mulan and the Notre Dame, the
Hunchback in Notre Dame.
Yeah, Hunchback. That's the one. And those are just very extremely terrifyingly sad. Yeah. So maybe not Disney actually.
I feel like you need something where it's only in some like there's more benefit than there is anything negative.
That's why I said Ghibli, because like
well,
it just seems fun.
In general, there's a good optimism to most of their films. I don't think all their films are the same universe, really, are they? But
no, but
most of them are like pretty fun places. They seem pretty cool. But I think if I had to choose, I would maybe go with something. This is going to be like such a boring answer, but I might choose something like Harry Potter because I feel like magic. In general, it's most people don't even know there's anything bad going on or anything like magic going on. True. And it's pretty grounded, and you've still got all the benefits of modern life, except you've also got some magic thrown in there. So I feel like that's a pretty good one to choose. With very
but they also have
things.
Very scary creatures that exist.
True.
And Voldemort.
Just stay away from the magical places. Hey, and they beat Voldemort. You're fine. He's gone.
So basically, you want to be in a magical world, but you just don't know about the magic.
That's kind of stupid, isn't it?
And also, you don't have magic.
Okay, maybe not. Okay, okay.
That would be even scarier for me because you don't have any magic, so you can't defend yourself if the magic world like ends up, happening.
That's how I would feel if I lived in America. Like I think guns are terrifying, but if I lived in America, I would feel even more scared if I didn't have a gun, knowing that everyone else has one. Even if I would be useless with a gun, I feel like I would need one just to feel secure. I'm glad I don't live there because I don't want to deal with the idea of guns. But if I was there, there's no way I couldn't have a gun because I would feel so insecure if I didn't have one. Because knowing that everyone else has them.
True.
And it's the same with what you just said about the magic. If I didn't have the magic and I knew other people did, I'd be terrified. Like, oh no.
Right. So that was kind of a dumb thing. So you should be in Harry Potter, but you actually have magic then.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But then if I'm doing that, to be honest, there's probably other places I would rather be than Harry Potter.
Okay.
I don't know where.
You don't know where? Oh, okay.
I like your one. I like your Ghibli answer. That's because it's also a very unique sort of world as well.
Yeah, especially maybe Totoro or something, because
he's just your neighbor now.
My neighbor. No, because they have all kinds of cute little creatures, like the cat bus. I like that. And those little things, yeah.
I don't think I've actually seen Totoro.
Really?
If I have, it was so long ago I don't remember.
But that's just a cute, very cute place, cute movie.
Yeah, it's not actually magic, is it?
Yeah, it's magic.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. There's a cat bus.
Okay, I want to live in the Cat in the Hat. He's magic.
Oh. Ew. That's kind of the worst thing you could say, actually.
Why?
Imagine it's just pretty normal and there's just...
I don't think there's anything normal about... No, there's nothing normal about that world.
Really? Oh, true. It's
also weird and colorful and talking fish and... Yeah, there's a lot of weird things there.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the episode.
Yeah.
First thing we're doing here is we're doing a little Genie game. And so we've kind of done this in different ways, I think, each. But the idea was to imagine that we have discovered a Genie lamp, we've rubbed it, whatever, out comes a Genie, and we have 3 wishes. And so each of us have to describe this and say what our 3 wishes are, and also why. I'm going to let Zilver start. because I think she's done it a little bit different from how I have. And so I'm interested to hear how this goes. And so we'll hear what her wishes are, why she chose them, and then we'll have a little talk about them.
Yes. So I basically wrote mine just sort of like me in a story. I've encountered a genie in a lamp. The shadow creature taking shape, increasing in size like an angry dark cloud. You have freed me from my lamp, it says. And I'm confused, though the next words it utters holds the promise of 3 wishes. Not a single wish comes to mind, although I know I have thousands of things I desire. I strike up a conversation, asking the genie why he lives in a lamp, why he can't get out, etc. The genie doesn't seem too happy with his situation, so I feel bad for the genie, wanting to free him like Aladdin does. Though I don't know the genie, so I'll take some time to like get to know him before making my wishes. That's when I start thinking of what to wish for, like shape-shifting abilities, talent, like playing instruments, getting rid of my anxiety, wishing for ideas to come to me with ease, the ability to write great stories, wishing for all of mankind to be kinder, more empathetic, things that must make the world a better place. After spending more time with the genie, making sure the genie is reliable, I finally make my wishes. For my first wish, I wish for the patriarchy to end, for equality and a non-judgmental society. For my second wish, I wish I had the ability to painlessly shapeshift into whatever human or animal I want to be. And lastly, I wish for kind and good genies and everyone who's innocent and imprisoned to be free. Of course, some things could go wrong, but it doesn't feel right to not try to change the world either. So I think I had one like sort of selfish wish because I just want that. And the others I feel like kind of could change some things in the world without like, if you wish for like world peace, that's going to be a weird kind of situation, I feel like. So it's kind of, I just wished for some things to change, you know?
Yeah, I get that. So you've done like one wish for you, one wish for the genie, and one wish for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go into those one at a time then. Let's start with let's start with your genie one, since that's very nice of you, letting the genie go free.
Yeah, I just feel like there is a lot of good that can come from that. Like, if you're friends with a genie, it's not like I would expect more wishes, but just being around like a crazy magical being would be very cool and fun to me. So I think I would appreciate that, and maybe I could make friends with some cool creatures, you know?
Yeah, so you get the added benefit of you feel good about doing something nice, letting it go free, and you have the possibility of maybe making a cool friendship and also getting some benefits as well. So there is maybe a hope for something more, but you get even if there isn't anything, you still feel good about yourself because you helped the genie.
Yeah, but I sort of like, when I already had my 3 wishes, it's not like I would want to wish for 1,000 other things, you know? I would probably think more about it than I did now. So some things would have changed if that actually happened. But yeah, I think it's just fun to imagine being friends with like a magical being. So yeah.
Yeah. And I really liked for your shapeshift part how you purposely put in the word painlessly there, because we were talking before in the superhero episode. Yeah, and I was like, okay, but if you're shapeshifting, is there pain involved? Because that's going to make it pretty horrible if suddenly like your bones are cracking and moving into different places, and you're like, it's so sore. But so painlessly, I like that you put that there.
Yeah, I was trying to like think in ways that it won't be like twisted or made in a weird way, you know?
I'm just overthinking as always, but what if the genie doesn't like you and he's playing a trick on you? And so you've said painlessly shapeshift into whatever human or animal you want to be. What if you do that and then you've no way to switch back? Because you have gone into whatever you want to be, but you've not specified that you can go back or you can do it as much as possible. What if it's just like you're going to do it once? You're like, I'm going to be an owl today, and now you're just trapped as an owl for the rest of time.
True.
Yeah, I think you need to be
That's so
careful with
true.
these tricky genies, because sometimes they can be
Yeah.
tricksters.
Very
So,
true.
yeah, but
And
no,
it doesn't know, even if like I say I'm gonna set it free, it might not believe me,
yeah.
like in Aladdin.
But
So,
I do
yeah.
think that it's. I mean, you always talk about how you'd love to be able to shapeshift and stuff like that. So I think it is a
Yeah.
good wish for you. Maybe just work on your wording a bit, but the good
Yeah,
wish.
I definitely would. I just wrote this down a bit quick, so I didn't have the time to like go through every possible like what could go wrong, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, of
But
course.
in general, those are the wishes.
Yeah, and so then again, your final wish about the sort of equality, no patriarchy, no non-judgmental society.
Yeah,
That's probably your biggest wish, because that's the
yeah.
one that could have probably the most
Mm-hmm.
unexpected changes on the world. Like, I'm
It
trying to think,
would.
like, obviously everyone wants to live in a world where everything's more equal and that there's less judgment and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I start wondering, if there's no judgment, does the world start to be
Yeah.
a creepy place? Because
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
why
it
I
can
didn't say
sometimes
like
go too much.
no.
Yeah.
I'm to me, I think I wrote it more like less judgment.
Non-judgmental.
Yeah, so that the basis of society isn't to be judgmental, because I feel like
Yeah.
a big part of society today is sort of to compare and judge other people. That's like something people jump to immediately. Like if you read a
Yeah.
comment section, it's always like people finding something to judge, or like
Yeah.
finding someone to compare people to for no reason, like absolutely no reason. So I feel like if you just take away that sort of mindset, the world would be like a better place.
Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that's something that comes from maybe jealousy and people being unhappy with their own lives, and so they kind of
Yeah.
project to other people?
And also, that's just how kind of like the world has evolved. The people sort of always grow up with maybe people around them also judging other people, their parents like judging people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you grow up with parents that are very like just kind to everyone,
Yeah.
and people around you are also just like kind to everyone and doesn't judge, you would also not
Yeah, you're
become
more
judgmental.
unless you're just a shitty person, because you do get those
True.
as well. But yeah,
True.
good upbringing does make a big difference for sure. I think there's a difference. Like, everyone, like, you can't help it. When you see someone in the street, you make a judgment in your head about how they look, about what their
Yeah.
attitude's like, all these things. But there's a difference between making those judgments that everyone does and then
Mm-hmm.
actually acting and doing something about it.
Right.
Like going and then suddenly start treating someone badly based on a judgment you've made, or going out of your way to be nasty to someone, or going out of your way to start spreading rumors about them and start talking about them. Those are all different things that lead from your initial judgment. Everyone has judgments. Like, everyone looks at other people or things and judges them in some way. You can't help it. It's just natural. But what you can choose to do is how you react to that and what you do with your judgment following it.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people fall.
I try to, if I find myself judging someone for something, I try to also think of something positive, or like a reason to why sort of this judgment I'm having about them is there.
Yeah. Or maybe even think of an excuse about why someone might have done something, rather than think the worst.
Right. So yeah, especially like judging people for things that make no sense, like that just are societal like expectations and stuff. Like,
yeah,
for example, like, oh, she doesn't wear makeup or something. Like, that's so like not important.
Yeah.
Like, if people choose to wear something or not, or if they like have an interest that is kind of weird or something, I'm just like,
yeah. Like, that guy's cool, really into trains. How dare he? What a weirdo.
Like that. Like, oh my god, trains. Why would people like judge something that makes someone happy, you know?
I read a stat the other day, and it was someone posted it. It was a list of a survey, and it was women and what the least attractive hobbies for men are, and number one was video games.
Really?
Like, yeah, so it was something like a group of women on dating apps or something, and it was like 50% of them said that a man playing video games makes them unattractive. And then there was other ones. It was like, I think chess was one of them, and trains. It's kind of like the nerdy ones you would think of.
Yeah, But also the video game thing, I think that's because a lot of guys sort of neglect their girlfriends because of their addiction to games. Not saying all do, of course.
Yeah.
I'm also a gamer, so there's no resentment towards the game in itself. I think there's more like a feeling that the game is more important than the girl,
I get that, but I think there is a thing with gaming, not just for like women or men or what. I think in general, it's like older people have this sort of attitude, and it's that they don't understand video games. They think it's a waste of time.
True.
It's like I don't like most old people don't play them. Like my dad plays video games, but my stepmom doesn't play video games. My mom doesn't play video, and so like there's lots of older people they don't play video games, and they look down on it. Even though really it should be looked upon just as fair as like watching a movie or something, but for some reason they think it's childish because you're playing. It's like when you're a child you play games, and so they almost think when you're older. So I think that's maybe where part of that comes from as well. Like people think, oh, that's immature to be playing video games. So I think there's that sort of thing in the general society where people look down on that for that reason.
Yeah, I think so too. But I know a lot of like older people that play video games. So
I mean, yeah, that they are out there, and there's definitely more now than there's ever been. But there is definitely a sort of stigma, I think, about it. But I think it is starting to lessen, at least.
I'm very grateful to have a family who all plays video games, except my grandparents. So
yeah, the most my mom plays is like Candy Crush on her phone.
Yeah,
I don't think that counts.
Candy Crush, let's go.
Well, for your wishes, that's your. Is there anything else that you like thought? Oh, that would have been a wish I could have thrown in there as well, but you wished for the genie instead. Like, is there something else that you had on your mind, or are you happy with those wishes?
I sort of wrote a few of the like potential wishes. I did write those down, getting rid of like anxiety and stuff, or like mental illness. But I also think I'm kind of scared to do that because I don't want to like change myself too much in case like suddenly things get worse for no reason. Like I don't know what could happen, And if you remove like all anxiety, maybe you're just too chill. Maybe you're just like doing a lot of stuff that's like suddenly kind of stupid to do. So I was like apprehensive about that.
Yeah, I get that. I think maybe the answer is instead of you're looking at like anxiety is like a symptom of other things. Maybe the real answer is to wish away whatever the cause of certain things are. So wish away it's like you were talking about your wish about less judgmental things. So like instead of wishing away judgment, which is like the symptom, what instead you do is you wish away what makes people judgmental, which is maybe insecurity. So you wish for a less insecure world, or for yourself, you wish away certain things that make you anxious in the first place rather than the anxiety itself. So like that way, you're not changing yourself. You're just you're taking away the things that are causing you to feel bad, if that makes sense.
No, but like everything makes me anxious, so I can't just.
So you just take away the world. Take away the world.
Yeah, I was like, also like social anxiety, like take away the social. I'm like,
yeah, but those things don't they tend to come from like it's something more, I don't know, like. Sometimes, for example, people are anxious because they're not confident about something, or because they're insecure about something, or because like all these feelings come from something. Yeah. So almost like if you deal with that thing, then the anxiety should, in theory, fade away.
Yeah, but it's from trauma. So
yeah. So
without taking away the past trauma, I can't like change how I feel about things now, maybe, and like changing a few things about the world now. Would still make me anxious about those things, even though they're less or something, because it's just the trauma.
So then maybe last idea. How about like some wish of a way to better heal and better cope with trauma and help move on from it?
That would actually don't just erase
it. Yeah, don't just erase it. Don't just take away anxiety, but make some sort of wish that gives you a clear path and guide to moving on and healing something.
Is this suddenly a therapy session?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like we're doing therapy right now. Well, it is a magic
suddenly
episode,
therapy.
So here's the magic.
Yeah, the magic. You're the magic. Okay. Magic Mike.
Yeah. Magic Mike. That's me.
Magic Ryan.
I don't think I'm a Mike. I don't think I look like a Mike.
Have you seen Magic Mike?
I have not. I know what it is though. Yeah, I don't.
It's more funny to me than anything. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd fit in that movie.
Really? Anyone could fit in that movie, you know?
Yeah. You think?
Yeah.
I've done mine different. You kind of wrote like a little story. I just kind of wrote down what the wishes were and why.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read them. They're a mixed bag, and you're going to disagree with at least one of them. The first one, probably. So I've said this for years. I've actually said this multiple times, that if I had a magic genie lamp and I had 3 wishes, one of my wishes would be used on this, and that is, I wish ketchup no longer exists. Because it's a vile thing that looks gross and it smells even worse. Life would be better if it did not exist. I actually have Heinz ketchup blocked on Twitter because I kept seeing ads for it. And I once had an obsessive hater kid who kept making all these weird accounts and message me. He started with stuff like an account called Rat, then there was Rag Reynolds' mum, and then he moved on to Heinz ketchup. After I blocked the ketchup account, he messaged me with Heinz mustard, asking why I blocked his brother Heinz ketchup.
Wow, the lore? Okay. Get it?
Fuck ketchup.
Damn, but I love ketchup.
I don't care.
So I would be kind of sad about that.
I'm being selfish.
People would just make some other type of ketchup replica.
No, ketchup just does not exist. It's
replica. So maybe they could make something out of paprika instead of tomatoes, you know?
Sure. Then okay, I don't mind that. Go for it. Just no ketchup.
Okay.
Just no ketchup. That's it. No ketchup. It's just so. I would to me, there is almost nothing more disgusting in this world than ketchup. Like, I would rather eat human poo than ketchup.
It's crazy.
I find that less disgusting. I don't know why. I think there's some trauma or something in my brain that I just cannot get past. I just find it so revolting. Like, I genuinely cannot think of anything more disgusting to put in my mouth than ketchup.
Just a spoon of vinegar?
I hate vinegar as well, but I would rather have the vinegar than the ketchup. I don't know what it is.
Damn. Okay. So ketchup is the ultimate worst thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But yeah. Just the smell, the look. I don't even know if I've ever tasted it. But it's just so disgusting to me. That's just extreme autism.
You must have tasted it like once to know, though.
I think as like a really young baby or something, I was maybe tried it, but it's mainly smells and stuff. And to be fair, I mean, most of the smells
to know how it tastes.
No,
so you know...
I can't. I cannot.
You can't? Just sit by the toilet so you're ready.
No, I can't. I can't even go near the stuff. I'm like,
yes, you can. I've eaten ketchup near you.
Okay, have you?
Yeah, I have several times. I've gotten
better at dealing with being near it, but I'm always very much aware usually when it is there. I'm like, staying away. Yeah, vile stuff. Okay, next wish. I can't remember who it was, but I once knew someone who ate vanilla ice cream cones and they put ketchup on it.
Okay, that's actually sounds like a crime. It's a bit of a crime.
And it doesn't help that my mum and my sister, when I was younger, they used to put ketchup in so many disgusting things when we were eating dinner. And they just, especially my sister, she'd put it on most things, and it's... My mum and my sister would put it on like mac and cheese and stuff. They just like cover the...
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's normal.
I want to cry. No. I actually feel like I'm going to...
The worst, like ketchup on like tacos. My sister... and ketchup on a lot of weird shit. Ketchup on everything, basically. On curry. On like Thai curry.
What the fuck? Put your sister in jail.
Yeah.
I'm making this a clip just so you can send it to her. Just me tell her to go to jail.
Sometimes I do a little ketchup with the curry too.
What the fuck?
But not Thai curry. But
okay,
like,
you can go to jail as well.
It's like a Japanese curry. Or like a Japanese Indian curry. It's homemade, so it's more like ketchupable.
This is a very serious one. This is the most important wish, to be honest. So I wish that people who talk or use their phones in the cinema instantly burst into flames and die a painful death. Because people using their phones or talking in the cinema is one of my ultimate pet peeves. I don't understand why anyone pays to go and see a movie just to then sit there using their phone. People who do that are selfish. And no, turning your brightness down low doesn't make it any better. The cinema is a dark room. Even the slightest bit of light means that anyone behind you will notice it. If you feel you need to use your phone, then you should leave the room. And if you're expecting some important call or text, don't go to the cinema.
That clip should just be pasted in, on the screen when they show the pre-movie stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Just you saying all of that.
Yeah, that annoys me so much. I've made videos before, like on TikTok and stuff, ranting about people using their phones in the cinema. And I always get comments from like these young guys, usually they're like 15, 16, 17 or something. And they're like, oh, but it's fine if you turn your brightness down low. I'm like, why? No, fuck off. It's not fine. I can still see that. And it's like, why are you even using your phone? Why are you paying money to go sit in a cinema and watch it? I just get so hyped up about this whole cinema discourse because like people are also like judgmental. Oh, why are you going to the cinema on your own? That's weird. That's sad. I'm like, I like going to the cinema on my own. If there's any activity ever in human history that you should do solo, is go to the cinema, because you're not supposed to talk during it. It's like you don't need to be with someone. You're just sitting there in silence. Yeah.
Yeah, when we went to the cinema, we just sat there in silence. Actually, when I go with some of my friends, we like stare at each other or do a little whisper. If there's a crazy scene, I will do a little, and then maybe,
Yeah, normally when I have been with people, I've been with like my grandparents, I've been with like lots of people, and most people usually do something a little bit, and I can excuse a little bit of that as long as you're not bothering anyone else. But there's genuinely, I go and there's people sitting there having whole conversations. I went to see the Elvis movie, and there was these two older ladies. They must have been about 70, and they just were sitting a few seats down from me, and the whole movie they were having a conversation. And it wasn't even about the movie. They were talking about like their daughter and their grandkids, and it was like instead of meeting up for a coffee somewhere, they decided to come and sit in the cinema and talk. I was like, what the? It was like two old people. They hadn't seen each other in a month or so. I was like, what is going on here? They're having a catch up in the cinema. I was so mad. I get them all the time. I was there the other week, and there was people talking. I was watching? It was the Batman movies were being re-released, and I think it was when it was either Batman Begins or The Dark Knight. And there was this guy and his girlfriend, and he kept talking to his girlfriend about every scene that came on. He's like, oh, this is this part, this is this part. I was like, oh, fuck this. And then there was also a really weird one. I don't know if I told you about this one, but when I saw Kinds of Kindness a few months ago, it was literally me, this old lady, and this couple. So I'm sitting here, and this couple are sitting. I can only see them in my kind of peripheral vision. If I turn, I can see this guy's legs. And I don't know where the old lady was. The old lady walked out halfway through the movie, and I'm not sure if it was because there was cannibalism in the movie and she was disgusted by that, or if it was because of what I heard this couple doing. This couple, I could hear something vibrating. I'm pretty sure this girl was using a vibrator on her boyfriend, because every time I heard the vibrating, her boyfriend's legs, I could see his legs squirming around. So I think she was using a vibrator on him in the cinema. So I don't know if the old lady left because of that or because of the movie, because I've heard of a bunch of people leaving the movie because the movie's pretty gross. So I don't know which it was. But yeah, I've had some wild experiences in the cinema, and
that's actually wild. Yeah, that's one reason to not go alone, because I feel like if you go with friends, it's usually more likely you don't end up with some weirdos in the back doing something weird, because you're more people.
No, I think you still end up with them. Well, the good thing is sometimes when there's more people, there's more likely that you get someone who's going to stand up and tell the person to shut the fuck up. So sometimes it's good for that. I like midnight showings of things when something's just been released, because that's when you get like the more hardcore cinema people, and they tend to be very respectful. Like I went to see Lord of the Rings re-release, and those were all people who were there to watch the movie. And like because they're just big fans of the movie, and there was no issues at all with the Lord of the Rings release or anything. I've seen any midnight showing new things. No one's ever had an issue with anything. So I like all that stuff. But I refuse to go on like a Friday, Saturday night when it's just these fucking like school kids and stuff. Absolutely horrendous. Fuck that.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, final wish.
Yes.
Because I've ranted too long about that. My final wish is to be happy. Whatever that involves, I would just wish to be happy. Maybe it means a bunch of things in my life change, maybe even about myself a little bit, or maybe it means nothing other than maybe my mood being artificially changed in some way and making me feel happy. But I think if I felt happy a lot or all the time, then nothing else would really matter. So all my problems would be fine. Doesn't matter. I wouldn't want for more because I'd already be content. I'd be content, and I wouldn't be feeling pain or feeling upset or unhappy about where I am in life or anything like that, because I would just be happy. And so it would kind of solve other problems.
What does it mean to be happy? Because if you're artificially happy, like, are you actually happy? Like, even if your life doesn't make you happy, even if Like the world doesn't make you happy. Like if you just feel happy, just to feel happy.
But
are
if you
you
feel happy, then you're
actually
happy.
No, but like there's a different type of happy, like content happy. Then you
Yeah.
have the my mood, like my brain is feeling okay, happy. And then it's
Yeah.
still like if there's a lot of problems in the world, I couldn't see myself like being super happy.
Well, that's why I said, like, maybe that means things have to change, or
Yeah.
maybe it means it's artificially. Because if it's artificially, like, I'm hoping, okay, either they fix all those problems and then I'm happy,
Yeah.
or they just make me feel happy, and then suddenly
Okay.
none of those other problems matter. I'm just being the ultimate selfish person. But I'm fine with either of those solutions as long as I'm feeling happy in the end. I'll go with that.
Wow. Yeah,
My
you
wishes
had
are all very much about me.
Yeah, it's about you.
Just things that annoy me. It was like, I hate ketchup. I hate people talking in the
Wow.
cinema, and I want to be happy.
Yeah, I think you went a little on the funny side, but yeah, I went on the very like serious side of things. But yeah, wanting to be happy, I get that. I also kind of had wishes that would make me happy, so yeah, it's also selfish. Even if it's also about other people, I guess.
Yeah, I said specifically to be happy rather than choose something else about to change or gain, because I actually don't know what would make me happy. So I thought
Yeah.
I'll cheat the system and just say to be happy, because then the genie will work it out, because the genie has to make me happy.
True. Yeah.
And then, so whether it's gaining a superpower, whether it's getting this or that, the genie's going to do whatever it is that's going to make me happy. So he's going to just magic fix that. So I don't have to work.
You also didn't say how long, so you could be
off.
you could be happy for a second.
Yeah,
and
be
then,
happy for a day, and then it just all falls apart.
Yeah.
It's
just
like,
you want to
okay,
be happy,
you're
okay,
happy, but
happy?
it's because I've actually just stolen $1 billion and put it in your bank account. And so I think, yes, I'm rich now and I'm happy. But then the next day, the police are at the door. You've stolen all this money. Now you're in jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so yeah, you didn't specify. Yeah. I used the same thing you used against me, so yeah.
Yeah, revenge.
Yeah.
A dish best served cold.
Or is it?
Well, that was probably warm.
Okay.
Didn't have time to cook that.
Anyway, should we get to the stories?
Yes, it's story time. So. Today we have stories each, and so these stories we have written. The prompt was, write a story about a witch and a wizard who are feuding. So, you gonna start?
Should I start? My story is called The Disintegrating Witch. Pink Eye. What? I said pink eye. The hollow witch cackled, a long finger pointing to his face, her skin nearly melting off her bones like butter. The little round window across the room revealed his reddened eyes to him, and promptly his eyes began throbbing in his skull. His skin matched the color of his eyes, a boiling, crackling wrath, causing his cloak to shake, dusting the floors with a quick burst of his levitation magic. It wasn't me, Dorbus. Calm yourself. I told you entering the house would have consequences. Then how come you're not affected? I have my ways, she scoffed, looking at the rotten ceiling. The gifted witch had myriads of spells sewn within her mind, spells no other witch nor wizard could cast. Perticella the Hollow, they called his wise, wicked sister. She was a mere 5 years older than him, but seemed to have a wisdom so incomparable her reputation exceeded his. With all that power, she nevertheless chose to look just as old as she was. Foolish to him, who as a several centuries old wizard gulped down vile potions every morning to remain as a 23-year-old, which most magic users did to stay young, or to alter their appearance. She was unique in that way, enjoying her career as a mummified sack of wrinkles. Well, take what you need and leave before you turn into a pig. Or perhaps you'll just turn pink. I don't know what's worse. She hunched over, giggling. Curse you, sister, he said, grinding his teeth while scraping the wall with a conjured knife. The walls were littered with mushrooms, the awful hallucinogenic kind at that. She sat on a rotten footstool, watching with a growing smile, at least as much as you can smile with no lips and teeth. Hey, what's in that pocket? She was behind him before he could blink. He dropped his knife to the floor to cast a spell that stopped her claws from grasping for the contents of his cloak. A golden quail egg, his newest power relic. The egg was hovering in the air between them. Perticella's hollow eyes darkened, her smile reaching her ears. Just let me look at it, Dorbus. Just a look. She stared up, deceitful whispers at the corners of her mouth. She was half his size, her body nearly folding in on itself with that back. It was so crooked he could possibly use her as a cloak hanger. The ground shivered, a deep rattling in the ground beneath them threw his balance off. And for the split second it took for him to cast his hovering cloud spell, the witch snatched the egg from the air. Controlling cursed magic, that was completely unique to her. Dirt particle magic. She sunk with the floor as the soil cocooned around her. Thank you for the wonderful gift, brother. I'll see you in the next century. And with that, she buried underground with the help of her magical roots. The spells he cast had no effect. He yelled incantations as his blood boiled within his veins. She was gone. He failed to notice that he had in fact turned pink.
First thing I noticed was the amount of dialogue you were using here, because we've had conversation before about how you don't really use dialogue that much, or how we've done the Monster Hunter episode and specifically we're focusing on dialogue. And
well,
I thought you did really well
didn't say I don't use it. I said I'm not confident in my dialogue writing.
But in most of your stories, you also, for the podcast, you also haven't used much.
Yes, I have.
Not compared to like this story. Where was that line? There was a line I really liked that really stood out to me. Yeah, my favorite line in this whole thing was she was unique in that way, enjoying her career as a mummified sack of wrinkles.
Yeah.
I was like, great
That's
line.
That's actually my favorite line as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I loved how this woman, this witch, has chosen to remain looking that way. Even though she could look young, she could be super gorgeous and pretty, but instead she's chosen to just remain this way. Whereas normally you hear about people who are witches or wizards and they tend to be very much obsessed about appearances and obsessed about these sort of things if they can control it, and they want to always look younger, or they're always after that, whereas she's actually chosen, you know what, I don't care about that, I don't want to do that. So I really like that sort of aspect added to it, especially contrasting the other wizard who wanted to look like 23 years old and he's drinking potions every day, horrible vile potions, you said. So it's like, that's something that made me think as well, like, would you do that if every day you have to drink a potion every day that's disgusting and it's horrible to drink every time, but you look like your ideal version of yourself? Would you do it?
I'm sad to say, but I would probably do it.
I feel like most people would.
Yeah.
It's like taking medication every day.
True.
And it's, I think, like, I would love to say I wouldn't, but I feel like I would as well. I feel like everyone would. Maybe not everyone, but I feel like the vast majority of people, if they had this thing, you do that, you get through it, it takes you a minute or something to drink it every day, I think they would do it. I do.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't. You've not seen this movie. It just came out, The Substance, and it's very much body horror. You probably kind of think it's gross, but the whole point of the movie is it's kind of like a satire on beauty standards, and it's like Demi Moore's playing the main character, and she's like on TV, she's on a TV show, but it's like she's aged out of the role. She's supposed to be like young and sexy and stuff, but she's gotten too old. So like the guy who's doing the show, he like kicks her aside for someone younger. So what she does is she gets this substance. The whole movie is she gets this substance that she basically injects into her body, and it makes, spoiler alert here, people, it makes basically a copy of herself birth out of her back, and like her body opens up and a second version of herself comes out, but it's like young and like perfect and like super beautiful and sexy and stuff. But basically what she does is she has to like go through certain processes because this body's there just empty, and she has to like basically transfer her consciousness into the other body once a week. So she goes into the old body, then she goes back into the new one, and she has to like do all this shit with needles and stuff just to keep doing it. And it's basically back to that question of how much would you do for just your ideal body? Would you go through all that, and would you do this? And yeah, it's pretty gross, but it just reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a movie on Netflix that's pretty new, or was it a show? With kind of the same like type of vibe with the at a certain age. I just saw the trailer, by the way. At a certain age, you're forced to have like a cosmetic surgery that changes you like sort of into the beauty standard, And yeah, I haven't seen it, but I
is
heard
that Uglies?
Yeah, Uglies.
Yeah, I watched it.
You watched it? Is it good?
No, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was,
okay. Yeah, I've heard it's bad.
It was pretty bad.
But yeah,
the idea was kind of cool, but it was
yeah.
the actual movie itself wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. That it seemed like a good movie, but yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the ideas are better than the execution. For sure. Yeah. So I really like that. Anyway, I like that premise of the old witch. I love that. I loved your description again of the mummy thing. I love their little rivalry there. I like the part where is it the dirt particle magic. I thought that was a really cool idea. That's not something I really hear, but very often like dirt particles. I thought that stuck in my head when I read it. I was like, ooh, strange. And then the soil cocooning around her. I thought that was really cool. Thank you for the wonderful gift, brother. I'll see you in the next century. Buried underground with the help of her magical roots. This woman sounds so gross, but I'm also so intrigued. I want to see what she looks like. I want you to draw this woman. I want to see.
Draw this woman, yeah. I'm imagining something crazy.
I want to see something about this. Yeah, and I like you just ended it. He failed to notice the fact he had in fact turned pink. Is that you saying he's turning into a pig? Because you had said before that. I'm just curious because you said before that about before you turn into a pig or something. She had said that, so I assume that's what you were saying there. He's like about to turn into a pig, just hinting at that.
Perhaps something like that. Yeah, something's happening.
Yeah,
we don't know what because I didn't.
You hadn't quite decided what. You just it's happening. Yeah, okay. I kind of got that. I wasn't sure. Like I wasn't entirely sure, but I thought it was kind of a cool place to leave it.
No, but the idea was that like. Because he couldn't use his magic at the end. So she had already sort of planned the whole thing and fooled him into sort of that place that makes like his powers useless after a while. Or she actually like put a spell on him in the start and it slowly like made him useless,
I would like to hear more of this of this witch. I'd like to hear more of. Wait, what was her name? Dorbus was the wizard, right? Dorbus. Yeah, it was a weird name. What was her name? Was her name there?
Her name is here. Wait, it's
Oh, was it Pertazella? No, that wasn't her. Yeah, Pertazella.
It's her.
Yeah, I thought that because I remember now because I remember you read it. I was like, "Are you going to read that?" Okay, but you read it fine. I was like, "How do you say that?"
Pertazella.
Strange name. You always compliment my names. I said this in one of the previous episodes. You always compliment my names, but you've been doing really good with the names recently. Like you've had a lot of really strange names. It was your Monster Hunter one. What was the guy's? Was it Molo or something? The Molo, your little guy.
The little guy's name.
The Gungur, his name. Yeah, what was his name? Molo, something like that.
Morwort.
That was it. Morwort. Yeah, I loved that. That was a really good name.
Molo was in another story.
Yeah, I'm combining
pirate one.
Yeah, it may have been. That sounds right. But yeah, I know you've been doing some pretty strange, distinctive names. I like that. It sometimes gives things a little bit more character. It's memorable just when you change the name a little bit. So I really like. I like that. The golden quail egg. I had a little vision. Do you like quail eggs? You ever tried a quail egg?
I don't think I've tried it before.
They're not my favorite. Do you know how small those things are? They're so tiny.
Yeah, that's why it fit in his little pocket.
Really small pockets. Yeah. No, I like this story. I would definitely read more about this. I would like to hear more about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I could hear a whole thing about this woman. I want to hear someone like actually trying to get her back. I want to hear something about someone actually coming to try and hunt her down and get her. Like the angry villagers, or like someone's hiring a monster hunter to go get this witch.
Yeah. I thought about like
and Terry need to come and get her.
Oh shit. True. But she's not a monster. She just looks like a monster.
True. Okay.
Or do witches become monsters?
Well, you could argue witches are sort of monsters, but depends. Like it depends.
They're humanoid monsters.
Like witches who because I guess there's a difference. It depends how you class it. Like different people say that witches are maybe different from like wizards in the sense that maybe they're doing witchcraft rather than like traditional magic, I guess. But I wasn't really thinking about that when I wrote my story, but I know people like separate them into different categories. I always get confused about it. One thing I must say though, I've actually written this myself in some of my stories, but when people write grinding their teeth, and it's not because I think it's a horrible script, I just hate how it makes me feel when I read it every time. I have a thing about that, and it's like makes me cringe and once I'm like, yeah, that always gets me.
But it's sort of supposed to make you.
Yeah, I know that's the point, but I always like every time I read it. Did you have a favorite part? Oh, your favorite part was the same as mine, the mummified.
Yeah, I think that's the most creative I got in this one.
That was very it was a very vivid description. I really saw that when you read that, so I like that.
Yeah, I also like the part of him like saying she has such a crooked back he could use her as like a cloak hanger.
Yeah, that was a good one as well. That was a pretty good one. Yeah. No, you had a few good descriptions in here, and it was actually quite good. Even the world building, just the sense of like what's happening with the magic, like how you spoke about they take the potions to stay young and stuff. I thought that was really cool. It is kind of sort of laying the groundwork for sort of a larger world in a sense. So I did like that.
And we both wrote the stories like today, really fast. So yeah, I'm excited to see how you did. Like it's minimal editing, like very.
Well, mine is a little bit longer.
So. Right, and then instantly read.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about yours?
No.
Okay. Mine doesn't have a title as per usual. Did yours have a title there? Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
yours did.
The one I couldn't read.
Yeah. The Disintegrating Witch. I'm worried about reading mine because, Jesus Christ, I haven't tried to read. Normally, I always read it out loud before I just know how it reads, but I haven't, so I don't know.
I should try doing that because I don't do that.
It really does help because then you realize where you're going to stumble, but anyway, we will see how this goes. It just wouldn't work. Despite the 4 months spent trying to perfect it, Vodia just couldn't crack it. But her spirit would not be dampened. She couldn't lose to that awful old wizard. She just couldn't. She tossed the latest dead mouse aside, landing it in the bucket beside her alchemy table. There has to be a way, she thought to herself. She got up and began pacing back and forth. It had been over a week since she had last left the tower. Her obsession and many sleepless nights were painted across her face plainly. She hadn't spoken to a single person in that time. Visitors had been ignored, and that was a big deal. Vodia had a reputation for helping locals with their problems. That was how she made a living. But more importantly than that, it was how she maintained a decent reputation. It was not common for a witch to be accepted by regular folk. But Vodia couldn't help herself. She had heard rumours of Sidarius's progress. Rumours that implied he had almost completed his work. If he finished before her, she'd surely be done. There was no room in the town for two magicians, and the people would obviously back the more competent of the two. Bang, bang, bang. The door at the bottom of the tower rattled. Vodia's heart sank in an instant. None of the locals ever knocked so aggressively. She considered ignoring the noise. But bang, bang, bang. She rushed down the cold, winding stone steps, not even bothering to put on her boots or check to make sure her golden hair was somewhat presentable. At the bottom of the steps, she took a deep breath, then opened the door. It was just as she had feared. Sidarius. You're out of luck, Vodi. The old wizard pushed past her uninvited, beginning his ascent up the tower. Vodia quickly followed after him, stunned by his audacity. Who did he think he was to just storm into her home like that? His pompous attitude had always bothered her. And you say I'm the cruel one, Sidarius noted, gesturing towards the bucket of dead mice. You had no casualties? Vodia asked through a tensed face. Unimportant. The wizard had made himself at home and was now browsing through her collection of books. Will you be taking all these with you when you go? When I go? You've lost, Vodi. Surely you don't intend on stomping around and protesting like a petulant child? I've not lost, Vodia argued. Not until you prove that you can do it. Very well, Vodi. He leaned on his staff and scratched at the bald spot on the back of his head. Give me one of your mice. I have no more mice, she said, looking over at the bucket filled with dead ones. In that case, we must improvise. How? Put this on. He handed her a glowing blue ring. Don't look at me like that, Vodi. This isn't a marriage proposal. You're not at all my type. If you think I'm going to be your test subject, You have lost your mind, Zidarius. Perhaps you don't have a choice, Vodi. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. So long as you behave. How can I trust you? Vodia asked, squeezing the ring tight in her closed fist. How can I know that this ring will only shrink me? Very well, the wizard sighed, stretching out his open hand towards her. Give it here and I'll show you. Vodia opened her hand and took the ring in her fingers. Instead of placing it in Zidarius' hand, she swiftly slid the ring down his finger. His scream of pain quietened almost instantaneously as his body shrunk down to the size of an average field mouse. He was desperately trying to pull at the ring to remove it, but it was futile. Vodia had imbued it with the essence of fire, and so it had fused to his finger as soon as it settled on it. There would be no sliding it back off. You witch! Zidarius' squeaky screams called out from the dusty floor below. She couldn't see his face clearly from how far above him she was, but she suspected he might even be crying. Don't act like you wouldn't have done the same to me, Zidarius. She took a step towards him, and he tried to scurry away, only to trip and fall on his backside. He looked up at her from beside her foot, which he was only half the size of. He was already covered in dust, which made Vodia realize that she ought to get some dusting done in the near future. Vodi, please, the old wizard begged, and in response she gave him a soft kick with her foot, which sent him rolling across the floor, cutting up his face and arms as he scraped against the wood. How many times have I told you not to call me that? I hate it. My name is Vodia. I'm sorry, Vodia, the wizard coughed. It's too late for that now. I realize that you came here on false pretenses, Zidarius. You see, I know that our task was impossible. If you had truly managed to do it, you would not have come barging into my home trying to aggravate and intimidate me. You'd have gone straight to the townsfolk to gloat, as you have always done. The truth is, you came here to snoop on my progress and gain a new lead. Or failing that, you'd planned to do something nefarious. Get away from me! Zidarius yelled. Why are you picking me up? Where are you taking me? I lied. Huh? About the mice. I have plenty more. Through a door at the far side of the room, Vodius took Zidarius over to a covered steel bucket filled with a dozen live mice. She tuned out the wizard's desperate screams as she removed the lid. Moments later, all of her problems were gone.
Oh, shit. Oh, she's a wicked witch. But he's a mean wizard too, so I guess, yeah. I wonder the other dead mice, if they're actually mice. Yeah.
Well,
wow.
I had thought they were mice, yeah. My idea was that they were practicing some... I don't actually know what they were practicing. I knew they were basically, my idea was that they were both trying to practice some sort of spell. They were both trying to do something that had never been done before. And so they were using small test subjects, such as mice. That's why, for example, he was going to show her by getting her to put on this ring, which would shrink her. So then she would be small since it didn't have a mouse. So, so she was practicing on mice. So it had to be something that was really small, that size. And so I just think they were mice. If there was a part where you could see she was holding the ring in her closed fist, and so my idea was that she was kind of, at that point she was like almost warming it with like the fire in it at that point. And so she was kind of trying to entice him into trying to prove by putting on this ring to shrink himself. So she just had to make sure that he couldn't get it back off.
Yeah, that was like, as I keep saying, you keep saying that this is bad and stuff, and then you read it and it's so good. I feel like you just didn't properly like read through it, maybe.
Yeah, there was a few parts. It's good. There were a few parts where I'm like, oh yeah, I should have changed that, or it didn't read very well. Like I stumbled quite a lot reading it. But that's because, as I said, normally I read through it before and change just the wording of things and make it sound a bit better.
True.
I could have done more descriptions. Like I had more things in my head that I wanted to describe. Like I wanted to describe her look, because in my head she was very, like, she looked crazy because she had been up for a week straight trying to get this done. Like her hair was all over the place, and she was like hadn't bathed in a while, and like she was just a mess in my head. That's like even the point she didn't even have shoes on when she like rushed down, and like dust everywhere, and like, but I didn't really get enough explanations of that in. But that was because I kind of wrote this really quickly.
I think you had a lot of good descriptions in here. Like this was my favorite description you did, because it was very like almost beautiful. She rushed down the cold winding stone steps, not even bothering to put on her boots to check to make sure her golden hair was somewhat presentable. So you did get the description there that she was like rushing and she was not presentable. Yeah, I did really like that. And also like rushing down the stairs. I was imagining like sort of like messy but beautiful in a way.
I regret the names, to be fair, because they were so hard to read. Constantly, I was like,
Oh,
I kept wanting to call her.
The names.
I kept wanting to call her Vlaudia, like Claudia, but like I kept wanting to put an L in there for some reason. And his name Sidarius, like it's hard to say, especially if you got another S word in front of that. It was getting a little difficult, but yeah.
You know, I keep liking the way your stories flow. They're just very easy to listen to and easy to read. I feel like every moment transitions well into the next one. There's no like awkward pauses or weird like transitions, which can be hard to do. I struggle with that sometimes, that I sort of end sort of a sentence or like a paragraph kind of abruptly and it just goes into the next thing kind of messy. Yeah. But I feel like you're very good at like knowing how to transition things into the next scene, sort of.
I appreciate that's something I don't think I've ever really thought about very much, but I appreciate that comment. But no, I think maybe what I do is a lot of the time it's something's happening and then there's an interruption is maybe how I progress. Like often, instead of it just it's like instead of just ending it and then the next thing happens, to move to the next scene or the next part, there's always someone or something interrupts it. So that means that the flow never stops. So that you go from here to here, rather than being here, stop, then here. True. If that makes sense. Yeah. So like instead of it just being these people have a conversation, then they walk over there and talk to them. Instead, you'll be someone who interrupts the conversation while they're mid-sentence. So it makes a conversation just connect to each other rather than stopping and starting, if that makes sense. And it was the same here. It was like you're just talking about what she's doing, and then instead of it being, oh, later she went downstairs and answered the door, it was just bang, bang, bang. It was like just suddenly you're interrupted of what's going on by the bang.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's the key, I would say, for how I do that. It's just I always think of, to move on, there's some interruption of some kind. And that's how it would. So I either cut off a sentence or there's something just immediately jarring that's there. And that's kind of you connect the things rather than stopping and then starting again.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I feel like if you write a longer story, it's harder to sort of make those transitions between like scenes. For example, if you're waking up in the morning and doing stuff and then you suddenly cut to the next day or something, that transition can always be kind of awkward. And often people tend to sort of write sort of too much about the daily life stuff, like she brushed her teeth and put her clothes on and walked down the stairs and walked to the door, all of that stuff. And breaking that off and not doing that and instead just jumping to the next part is sort of better, but I feel like you need some sort of transition into that as well. And I feel like you do that very well with even since I've read your books and stuff. I feel like you always transition pretty well into the next stories.
Well, I appreciate that compliment. I like that one. It's not something, again, it's not something I've ever really thought about much. Like it's not something I'm actually really aware of. Now I'm aware of it that you said that. And now that's why now I'm like analyzing it. I'm like, oh yeah, so I do use interruptions, but I don't do it consciously. It's just, I guess it's something that I've just started doing. But yeah, that's one of the big things I would say is interruptions. There's probably other things as well, but yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, she was a little evil in the end. I had the idea the whole time. It was like they're feuding. I was like, how is this going to go? It's like, is she really evil, or is she just doing what she has to do, or is she getting revenge, or like I was trying to work out the best way to do it. Like maybe I even at one point considered having maybe another person was going to be there and like intervene and like take down the wizard or something, and then she was going to get rid of him. But I ended up just keeping it the two of them because it would have made it a bit messy if it was suddenly more people. But no, I like that she's just feeding him to the mouse. Bye bye, he's dead.
Yeah, I like that we both wrote stories where the witches won the fight very easily too. They like just
they did. I didn't even realize that till you said it. Of course you'd like that. Yeah. I feel like it would have, I don't know. I feel like it would have been too easy to just make it, it's the traditional old powerful wizard gets the better of. So it's like, I want to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I like that's what I
Agreed.
liked about yours, to be honest, because your character, it was like she did seem really sinister and horrible and whatever. And it's oftentimes those are a creature that's like that's the villain, and you always hear about them getting defeated. Whereas in your story, she actually it was no she. None of them sounded like great people, but it sounded like she was the one who like was the horrible one who kind of took advantage and won the situation. Whereas mine in my head, Vodia she's not a saint. But in my head, she wasn't the bad one here. I thought the guy was. He was kind of there to try and, he was snooping on her. He was trying to play tricks on her to try and get the upper hand. She just took advantage of the situation before he could get her. So it was kind of like that. She wasn't really a horrible person. She was just doing what she had to do in my head. But you can tell the fact that she kind of effortlessly did it. She didn't really think twice. She's just doing that, now feeding him to mice. So she's probably not the greatest person.
I like that she sort of analyzed the situation and like figured sort of out that he was there for bad reasons, you know.
Yeah, because like as you said, like why would he be coming to her to come and gloat and barge in and whatever and try and intimidate her and all this sort of stuff? If he had really worked out to do whatever they were trying to do, he would have been immediately going and gloating to everyone and telling them so everyone knew. Like he wouldn't be taking chances to go and like rub it in her face first. But there's no way he would be doing that. Whereas now, he's not told anyone else, and like he's just gone, so like she doesn't have to do whatever it is. Everyone just knows that. Well, that guy's disappeared.
Unless she makes people forget about him.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really work out how powerful the magic was here. I'm not really sure. I wasn't I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't really develop them that much. Like I don't even know what they were working on. I just know they were doing something with like small creatures.
Yeah, but there's a lot of room to like write more on this story as well, I feel like.
Your witch and my witch need to meet now.
Yeah, oh my god, that would be fun. It's the same universe. Your witch lives in a tower and mine lives like in some underground hut.
Mine is coming to yours to get advice on how to finally do this thing that she can't do.
Small creatures. Yeah.
But then she has to make a deal with your witch. And so it's going to end up biting her in the ass because your witch is going to do like some horrible deal for her.
Probably. She's very like smart.
Anyway, that was fun. We got
very fun.
The story's done. We're very tired.
Yeah, I'm like almost falling asleep.
What's that face I did?
Ew, stop doing that. Oh my god, no.
I look like some sort of fish.
Yeah, you literally look like, I don't know, a puffer fish or something with your eyes so big.
Thanks. Much appreciated. Great for my self-confidence.
You said it first. You literally said it first.
I know.
What is on your shirt? Is it like
peacock pattern?
Thank you everyone for watching. We have new episodes every single week, so remember to check it out. We post every Wednesday. Hit that notification bell. I saw someone do that and now I can't stop thinking about it.
Hit that notification bell.
Yeah, and I was like,
hit that cowbell.
Should I say that? No, probably not, but I do it. Okay.
Well, subscribing is more important. Following on our socials. Going to ghostbookarchive.com, checking out all of our links.
Yep.
Just yep.
Yep.
Yippee.
Okay, goodbye. Bye.
We will be back next week with another scintillating episode.
Good word.
It is. Everyone used to make fun of me. When